In the summer of 1993, 12,000 people took part in Canada's largest act of non-violent civil disobedience. Citizens peacefully blockaded logging trucks in Clayoquot Sound on Vancouver Island, near the west coast village of Tofino. Almost 900 people were arrested as part of the protests. In recent years, another major upswing in environmental consciousness has been underway, partially triggered by the climate change documentary An Inconvenient Truth, featuring former U.S. Vice President Al Gore. Today, the fate of Vancouver Island and the Lower Mainland's ancient forests and forestry jobs are once again in the spotlight. Thousands of citizens are again rallying to end the logging of the remaining ancient forests on BC's south coast. Because the ensuing tree plantations are logged every 40 to 80 years, the old-growth forests never come back once they are cut down. These ancient forests are important for many reasons. They are home to many species at risk that simply cannot flourish in second-growth tree plantations, such as the threatened marbled murrelet and the endangered spotted owl. Scientists estimate that there used to be over 1,000 spotted owls in British Columbia. By 2009, due to the logging of their old-growth habitat on the southwest mainland, only 6 spotted owls were known to exist in the wilds of BC. Yet the BC Liberal government continues to place logging cut blocks in spotted owl habitat. Old-growth forests are also important for the climate. Scientific studies show that logging our coastal old-growth releases major amounts of carbon. Not all of this carbon is resequestered by the ensuing second-growth tree plantations, which only store 1/2 to 1/3 of the carbon per hectare of the original old-growth forests. Standing ancient forests are also important to the economy. A recent study from the Simon Fraser University showed that the old-growth forests of the southwest mainland are worth more to the economy standing than logged, when factoring in tourism, hunting, angling, non-timber forest products, and their importance as carbon stores. Old-growth forests are fundamental to BC's multi-billion-dollar coastal tourism industry. Each year, millions of tourists visit the old-growth forests of Vancouver Island and the southern mainland, including places like Cathedral Grove, Clayoquot Sound, the West Coast Trail, the Juan-de-Fuca Trail, the Carmana Valley, Cape Scott, the Nuu-chah Trail, Goldstream Park on Vancouver Island, Chilliwack Lake, Cheakamus Lake, and Manning Park on the mainland. Old-growth forests provide clean drinking water for people in Vancouver, Victoria, Tofino, and other communities. They also provide clean water for aquatic species like salmon and trout.
The salmon need the forest to lay their eggs. That's another really good example of Hishuk Ishtawak. Everything is one, everything is connected. Because the salmon go up the rivers, lay their eggs. A lot of those juveniles will not go out to the ocean for the first year of their life. So it's really important that the forest is here to hold that water. And today, over 75% of Vancouver Island has been logged, and virtually a lot of those salmon streams have disappeared. They've gone extinct today.
Logging old-growth forests results in dirty water, damage to streams and rivers, and the demise of important fisheries.
How are we going to keep fishing when the logging industry is destroying the fish habitat?
Unfortunately, most of the old-growth forests on BC's south coast have already been logged. Satellite photos taken of Vancouver Island show that about 75% of the original productive old-growth forests are now gone. This includes 87% of the ancient forests on the South Island, 90% of the valley bottoms where the largest trees grow and the most biodiversity lives, as well as 99% of the ancient Douglas fir stands. Unfortunately, only 6 to 8% of the original productive old-growth forests on the south coast are protected in our park system. Much of our parks consist of alpine terrain or marginal old-growth forests in bogs and at high elevations where the trees are often stunted.
Unless we fundamentally change the way we live, we risk future generations of human beings on this planet. And that applies in the situation that we have with the old growth. Because we are extinguishing old growth. It's like crack cocaine. We're addicted to it. Our entire forest industry has been addicted to it for decades. Decades of politicians turned a blind eye to what was going on under the guise of economic activity and job creation and community stability. But over the last few years, we've recognized that that addiction must come to an end, because now we are not even getting the economic benefit. Because now we are logging that old growth for log exports to countries so that a few shareholders get the benefit. And meanwhile, our watersheds are being torn apart. Meanwhile, our communities are not benefiting. That must stop as well. This campaign must be an old growth and a log export campaign. It must be an old growth and a community stability campaign. It must be an old growth and a sustainable future campaign as well.
Since 2006, over 20,000 BC forestry jobs have been lost, making it the largest loss of forestry jobs in living memory. The BC government's deregulation of the forest industry is largely responsible for these job losses. Their policies have facilitated the closure of over 60 mills in BC since 2001, unprecedented levels of raw log exports, and the elimination of tree farm licenses that once regulated vast areas of coastal forest. Since 2001, almost 30 million telephone poles worth of BC logs have been exported unprocessed to foreign mills, costing thousands of BC milling jobs.
Certain amounts of that fiber must be processed within the communities, and it must be sustainably done so that there's jobs for the future. We don't need jobs just now, we need jobs down the road. My children and my grandchildren need jobs.
By logging the second growth forests sustainably and ending the export of raw logs, so that there is a guaranteed wood supply for BC mills, we can sustain forestry employment levels while we protect the remaining ancient forests. The BC government should also assist in the retooling of sawmills to handle the smaller second growth logs and help to develop new value-added wood processing industries.